Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. My name is Ryan Brennan, and I'm creating this video as a part of a fulfillment of an assignment for Communication 6120, Organizational Communication, taught by Professor Art, or I think it's Arthur, or maybe Art Chalice. According to the assignment guidelines, we would pick a chapter and pick a few concepts, 2 or 3 concepts that we found interesting to the topic under discussion, which is organizational communication. For me, um, I took 3 concepts from chapter 1, the challenge of organizational communication, and those 3 concepts have to do with life being complicated, globalization, and then the idea of demographics. So we'll get into it, and we'll just kind of go topic by topic, or concept by concept. So concept number 1, life is complicated. There's many reasons why life is complicated. For instance, many people display a "it's complicated" caption via their Facebook profiles, thus describing how their relationships with another is difficult to explain clearly. This caption argues the author, it's Miller, last name Miller, of the organizational communication textbook that we've been reading as a class. This caption argues the author embodies communication in the 21st century. It's complicated. Our relationships are complicated. Truth be told, everything becomes more complicated with the rise of social media. That's, in reflection, that's one of the things that I've really taken away from this program at Southern Utah University as a grad student majoring in professional communication, with my emphasis would be public relations, is the power of social media, the rise of social media. So powerful, but also just popular, becoming more popular. I mean, as if it's not popular enough, it's becoming even more popular, and even professionals, communication specialists are using social media to do their work. With the rise of social media, life becomes more complicated, is what my argument is. And that's also what the argument of the author is saying. For example, another example of life being complicated through social media would be this. Just a few minutes ago, I wrote this a few weeks ago, so it's not as accurate, but a few weeks ago, I had a conversation with a woman. Her name was Nikki, or Nicole. She was a coworker, and she asked me if I would cover her shift. I jokingly said that I had covered her shifts too many times already. Then she wrote she did not need me anymore. Now, see, what does that mean? I think possibly she's angry with me at the time. I thought that because I might not see her facial expressions in person. I do not know if she is angry with me yet. So it's cool. We work things out, right, in person. Not through the instant messaging app via the Facebook website, but in person. So we're cool. But it's difficult because, sometimes they can have captions that show emotions, but maybe that's how they really feel. It's complicated. Life is complicated. But yes, in this case, I agree with the author in the multi-angled social media argument. With advanced technology comes more complicated ways of communicating with people. Sometimes it's best to just be simple and straightforward. And I just think in person is kind of better. Audio comprehension has always been really difficult for me, but still, it's better to kind of communicate with people in person. But I want to keep pace. Life is complicated because this is really the concept that really stood out to me during the reading of this chapter. Um, I'll continue reading. I imagine the catchphrase, "Life is complicated," is a well thought out argument. It's stated by many people from many walks of life. I first heard the statement from a wildly popular video game called Grand Theft Auto 4. Oh boy. Abbreviated GTA 4. It's created and published by Rockstar Entertainment. Let's be real. Rockstar Entertainment. And I strive to say this as a factual statement rather than an opinion. Rockstar Entertainment is the best video game making company in the entire world. And I know that that's an opinion, but let's be real, let's be honest. As soon as we start getting into the statistics of things, and which is coming up soon, and things in terms of providing background information to not only Grand Theft Auto 4, but to the whole GTA series, oh boy, some of the actual facts will probably be very surprising for some people. But we'll get into that in just a second. According to Wikipedia, it was released, Grand Theft Auto 4, for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 consoles on April 29, 2018, and then for Microsoft Windows, I presume that's for the PC, on December 2nd, 2008. The video game broke industry sales records and became the fastest selling entertainment product in history at the time, back in 2008, earning over $300 million in the first day and over $500 million in its first week. Still not as impressive as GTA 5. It's a rhetorical question, but hopefully it'll get some people thinking. How? How questions seek verb answers. How much money do you think GTA 5 made within its first 3 days of sales? The answer? Over $1 billion. Okay, so we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue within just 3 days of sales, making it the fastest piece of entertainment in all of entertainment history to reach $1 billion in sales. Rockstar Entertainment creates high quality video games. And in my personal opinion, it's an opinion, but let's be real, it's more factual than anything. They're the best. They are the best. Oh boy, we're about 8.5 minutes in. All right, let's keep pace. All right, I know. I get into it a little bit, but life is complicated. During a monologue found earlier in the game, GTA 4, the storyline, Nico Bellic, the main protagonist, explains to Mikhail Faustin's wife, life is complicated. I've killed people. I've smuggled people. I've sold people. Perhaps here in Liberty City, things will be different. Liberty City is the main setting that it takes place in. These statements are said with great emotion and reflect the previous choices made by Nico. We learn from GTAWiki.com that Nico grew up in Yugoslavia, where he fought in the Yugoslavia Wars. After fighting in the wars, Nico took a job working for a man named Ray Boldrian. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. He's one of the main antagonists of the game. Smuggling and selling people across the Adriatic Sea. This work experience is what Nico is referencing when he said usually says it best, that's good news journalism, life is complicated. At any rate, Nico came to Liberty City, a modern-day depiction of New York City. Very powerful, very good, for 3 reasons. Spoiler alert? Hashtag spoiler alert? I don't know. Well, I don't think we'll provide too much spoilers here, but Nico fled from Liberty from Europe to Liberty City for 3 reasons. The first, to visit his favorite cousin, Roman Bellic. Second, to flee from the European organized criminal world. Ironic. Ironic. Because he still gets involved with organized crime in Liberty City. And third, to search for one of the persons who survived an ambush during the war in Eastern Europe. He accredits this ambush that happened years ago as the moment that ruined his entire life. So that's a big aspect at work here in the story. The results of the war had a very negative impact on Nico's outlook on life. All in all, these 3 reasons for fleeing to Liberty City make for interesting storytelling and clearly depict the complexity of life. Life is complex. Globalization. I learned a little bit more about globalization, specifically the concept of outsourcing jobs to foreign companies, or companies to foreign places. Businesses wisely move their factories to other countries because the labor costs are often significantly cheaper. These methods, ways of accomplishing things, market many businesses well, which in turn produces international recognition. The good news? Optimistic entrepreneurs can use globalization to promote their new business ideas, argues Thomas Friedman. The world is flat. The bad news, and the very realistic news: persons needing jobs to support their families are at a disadvantage. For example, I recall watching a television show called That's 70 Show, or That 70 Show. In some ways, I'm kind of unorthodox. GTA, That 70 Show. I never, I've become more worldly over the years. That's an interesting concept. I think I'm going to write about that in my journal. I never used to be this worldly. Golly. All right, Red Foreman, Eric and Lori Foreman's father, was laid off from work because all the factory jobs were outsourced to some foreign country. This causes a problem for the Foreman family. Red Foreman can no longer provide for the financial needs of his family. Long story short, Red Foreman finds another job working for a company called PriceSmart. Ironically, now we're really emphasizing the idea of irony in this writing. It's interesting how themes kind of arise. Ironically, his neighbor who owned his own business called Bargain Bob's, Bob Pinciotti, offered and gave Red a job working for him several months before Red got the job at PriceSmart. Interestingly enough, Bargain Bob's, say that 10 times fast, went out of business due to PriceSmart providing equal or better products for a cheaper price. Let's face it, people who are willing to pay more money for quality products they can get for a cheaper price, they'll do it. Simple, easy, done. Yes, I agree with the multi-angled argument. Wise businesses move their factories to other countries because their labor costs are significantly cheaper and people are willing to pay less money if they can for products. Last but certainly not least, demographics are important. Demographics help us understand people's characteristics. I recall taking a principles and practices public speaking class during my undergraduate, and I learned about demographics, and I always feel like there's 6 major demographics, including age, gender, socioeconomic status in the sense of education, occupation, and income, ethnicity or nationality, political affiliation, or religious beliefs. Communication specialists use demographics to analyze their audiences. That's really the sum of it. Life is complicated. Globalization, specifically outsourcing jobs to foreign countries. Demographics. For me, it's simple. I just take words that have great power, great meaning, and just naturally just put it out there and expound upon them. Life is complicated. Globalization, demographics, GTA 4, GTA, the whole series, money. All of these topics are very, very interesting to me. Okay, I know that your time is valuable, so I'm going to cut it short. I'm going to cut it loose, and I just hope that you have a really good day. This is my video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully there was some interesting, thought-provoking things that I said. Really, honestly, all right. Later, Gators. Bye.